So one thing that can be happening while we're all just sitting around a lot these next couple of days is just the pelvis getting sort of upset. Maybe the sacroilliac joint or pelvic alignment can get out of place a little bit with a lot of sitting, especially if you're like me and you have a tendency to sit on one foot. I have a tendency to sit like this a lot. And that just destabilizes the pelvis. So we're just going to do a little bit right now just to give you some ideas about what you can do. If you just need to get yourself back into alignment, pretty easy. So you'd need a block. If you don't have a block, find something firm to use in its place that would give you about a 4-inch width, and then again that about 8-inch width. And you can use a strap, and if you don't have a strap, you can use a tie, or somebody once said, some pants, and just kind of flip it around and use the length of the pants. So I'm going to be using a strap and a block. So letting yourself just come on down to the floor. You want to be nice and comfortable. Make sure your head is supported on something. And snuggling your shoulder blades down. Just give yourself a moment just to be on your back. And then once you've been there, I'm going to take the block the long way and put it in between the knees. Right about there. So you really want the knees to be holding it, not necessarily the thigh. Really kind of as close to the knees as you can to feel stable. If it's too close to the end, obviously you can't hold it. So just a good strong spot. Feet to the floor. And arms can just be out to the side. So just letting your feet, rather than picking your knees up off the ground, you're going to keep the feet on the floor. Squeeze into that block as firmly as you can. Give it a little push there in between both knees. And then letting yourself go over, not all the way, just about to the edge of that hip bone. Right foot's going to come up off the floor. And then back into center. And then same thing on the other side. Knee still squeezing, rolling a little bit into that right hip. Left foot this time is going to come off the floor. We're just making sure the hip, knees are staying equal, lined up with each other, and the hips moving over the other side. You can kind of resist that urge to draw the feet off the floor. Just rolling from side to side on the feet. Maybe 10 times, so it's like 5 times to each side. So this is nice and slow. We're not rocking back and forth real fast. Just really taking your time, squeezing into the block, and then coming back to center. And once you've done that about 5-6 times to each side, remove the block slowly. Give yourself a moment. And then we'll turn the block so it's the narrow way. And squeeze the knees in. Walk the feet a little closer together. So we started with the heels lined up with the seat bones or a little wider apart. Now we're closing in a little bit. Same thing again. Nice and slow. Not going to take the feet up off the floor. And just rolling over onto the side, so you're rolling into that hip. Left foot's off the ground. Coming all the way back, squeezing in, and then over to the other side. So we're going to do that maybe, again, 5 or 6 times to each side. After you've done that, take a break. You're going to turn the block that 4 inches and put it back in. You're going to take the strap and wrap it around. So you may need to tie it or whatever strap you have, whatever thing you have. You want to make sure it's nice and secure. And pulling that strap tight. Then once you got it nice and tight, you're going to pull the block out and press into the outside of the strap. Really pressing out firmly till you feel it up into the hips. And then we'll do the same thing again, rolling onto the hips. But to that left foot's going to come completely off the ground, so knees stay in alignment. And then opposite side, really pressing out into that strap. Right foot comes off the floor. Just letting yourself go back and forth, pressing outward. About 10 times again, 5 times to each side. Go ahead and bring that block back to you. We'll release the strap. Bring the block back so it's this length. And pressing yourself up, squeezing into the block. Keep on going. And then release, letting yourself come down a little bit, rolling through the back. And maybe 4 or 5 times coming up until you're ready to stay up. Just letting the arms float out to the side. Keep the pressure on that block. You want to be able to feel it all the way up into the inside of the groin. And then keep the pressure on as you roll back down. And then once the pelvis gets to the floor, just take a break. Move the block. It shouldn't take more than, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. Just to give your pelvis a little bit of an adjustment, a little realignment after doing a lot of sitting, especially if you're like me and you kind of sit a little cattywand.